Chapter 16. The Room. There was a room in the house that Jinhua never entered. It was upstairs, at the end of the hallway on the opposite side of the house from where her room was located. Its position next to the master bedroom made it convenient for her father, who probably worked there frequently, though she rarely saw him enter or exit with her own eyes. One spring day, when she was 7 years old, she had constructed a model rocket from a kit she had received for her birthday that year. The project had been easy, and she finished building the simple model in a few hours. Bored and slightly disappointed that the rocket contained no fuel or ignition device of any kind, she pretended that it was the Chang'e 10 heading for another trip to Mars. The rocket blasted off from a launch pad made from the rocket's overturned kit box. Holding the model in her hand, she ran down the thick red carpet of the hallway, laughing and flapping her lips to mimic the sound of jet propulsion hurtling the craft through space. She ran with it to the end of the hallway, looping and circling it in the air in a strange trajectory that defied the laws of physics and projectile motion. The rocket's journey carried it past the planet laundry room, then to the rich in iron, celestial arrangement of metallic pillars of the stair banister, and zooming by the black hole of the master bedroom, where it narrowly avoided being pulled to a fate of eternal compression and squishing. Chang'e 10 had never ventured this far before, to the ends of the hallway galaxy, but there it was, in front of the forbidden door where its journey came to a close. The door was made of solid oak, with a gold-colored pommel. Carved with master craftsmanship in the center was a crescent moon, with a thin arrow flying right through it, both situated at a 45-degree angle. Jinhua would measure it years later and confirm the exactitude of the dimension. Below the knob was a digital keypad with a grid of 16 buttons. Attached to it was a thin display strip where she assumed some type of code could be input to access the room. Another lock without a key, she used to think to herself. The door appeared somewhat heavier than the other doors in the house, as if it had some type of reinforcement embedded in the center. She had also taken note of a thin metal strip directly beneath it, preventing light from wandering out of the room beyond. It was a door that inspired Jinhua's curiosity, that begged her to step inside. But it was forbidden. Her father had told her so when she was very young, and in order to remain as filial as possible, she respected his wishes. As she matured, the draw of the room became stronger. She noticed how her father would slip out of there on late nights, or retreat inside for what felt like days at a time, only coming out to take a meal with her or to tell her goodnight. Anytime the portal opened, Jinhua took the opportunity to absorb anything she could about what was behind the solid door. It had taken most of her young life, but she had managed to create a mental checklist of the contents in the room. Glowing lights, at least one or several computers and screens, a set of comfortable chairs. He has occasional guests in there. The sound of a television, He watches television sometimes. A military-style cot. He sleeps in there sometimes. All the disparate pieces summed up to a mystery in her mind about the purpose of the room and what her father used it for. Now, she stood outside that door, doing her best to prevent her emotional state from clouding her actions. I need to do this flawlessly, or else Dad might... She clenched her eyes shut to wipe out the thought of something bad happening to her father. I can do this. Recalling the brief conversation with Mr. Rodan Mitchell with her echoic memory, she reviewed the instructions she had received one more time. Step 1. Turn the golden knob twice to the left and 3 times to the right. Step 2. Enter the code 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 43, placing a hashtag after every number. Step 3. Once inside, access the emergency communication device. Listen for the tone. Step 4. Press the numbers 5, 3, 0, 5, 5, 5, 0, 9, 2, 6. Wait for another tone. Hope your dad answers. She had repeated the instructions like an affirmation as she made the journey back to her house. Daniel had come with her, out of concern for her physical and emotional well-being. Remember to put the hashtag in after I know what I have to do, Jinhua snapped. Daniel shrugged. His face betrayed no reaction at her scolding. She took a deep breath and began the sequence, making every input as deliberate as her trembling fingers would allow. Damn it, I pressed a 3 instead of a 7. I have to start over, Jinhua muttered. Calm yourself, said Daniel in a neutral tone. You got this. Jinhua looked at him and responded with blinks. She wasn't used to receiving explicit and unwarranted encouragement. 2 attempts remaining, she thought, her nervousness rising. She rubbed her hands on her shorts to remove anxiety-produced sweat before she began again. Knob turns, number, hashtag, number, hashtag, number, hashtag. She focused on every input as if she were defusing a bomb. Like in the movies. Last one. She entered the number. What followed was the satisfying sound of mechanical action occurring somewhere in the thickness of the door. It sounded like a series of locks being overridden, providing passage into the forbidden room. Nice job, Daniel said in a neutral tone. Nice job. You don't sound or look impressed. Should I be? It was just keying in numbers. Surely this lies within the scope of your abilities. You are Jinhua after all. He let out an awkward laugh. She shoved him playfully, then turned her attention to the door. Unlocked after all this time. It's time. She reached for the golden knob, twisted, then pushed it open. She was surprised at how easy it was to move. A confusing sight greeted her eyes upon entering the room. All of the elements she had caught glimpses of over the years, the glowing computer monitors, television, chairs, and the steel gray-colored military-style cot, were present. What she had not seen was the giant table on the far left side of the room, containing a large holographic map of the world. It consumed that entire side of the room, with bluish three-dimensional displays jutting out of the surface. On the back wall of the room were several monitors with live video feeds in various locations that she did not recognize. In the center of the room was what must have been her father's workspace. Several clear document reader screens were stacked neatly on top of each other, flanking a large computer monitor. There were even a few heavily weathered file folders with real papers in them. Jinhua wanted to touch them to see if they were real. Wow, I haven't seen that many physical papers in a long time, Daniel marveled. Me neither. Jinhua's eyes were wide with excitement. So many things in here. Her curious shadow clone had unleashed itself among the mysteries of the new space, manipulating buttons, determining where all of the video feeds were monitoring, playing with the interactive world map, shifting between topographic, economic, and climatic modes to watch how it changed. She had to clench her fists to prevent her physical body from performing such actions. Daniel noted her restraint, suppressing a laugh as he viewed her from the opposite side of the room. You know, you're very self-disciplined. Jinhua whipped her head toward him. What? I wasn't going to do anything. I was just checking it out. I swear. Daniel smirked. Uh-huh. Sure you weren't. Oh, you shut up. She waved her hand in a dismissive manner, then turned her attention back to the map. I wonder what he uses this for. Research, maybe? Tracking stuff? There was so much she didn't know about her father. Seeing the map reminded her of burning questions she had never dared to ask him for her entire life. I hope he's all right. Hey, Jinhua, take a look at this, Daniel called. He had ventured to the right corner of the room, where a single cushioned recliner, chartreuse in color, stood alone under the light of a standing lamp, casting a halo of light onto it. She had not seen the space during her peeks into the room, due to its hidden position in the corner. Jinhua pulled herself away from the map and rushed to the other side of the room across the smooth blue-tiled floor to join him. Daniel analyzed the device sitting on a small wooden nightstand next to the recliner with intrigue. What is it? Jinhua asked, approaching with caution. I think this is the emergency communication device that your dad's friend told you about. She moved closer to get a better look at the thing. It looked like it was constructed with antiquated material. The black plastic was visibly cracked on the top part, and the numbers on the keypad looked very analog. A few of the numbers that used to be white were either yellowed were barely visible. The base had a wire that ran from it to the wall, tethering it in place. Another wire, connected to the base, was in the form of a spring and attached to the top part. It looked like that component could be removed. Jinhua tested the spring-like wire, amused by the way it snapped back after she compressed it between her thumb and forefinger. "I think I've heard of one of these things before," she said. "What was it called?" Daniel looked at the device, then paused, searching for a response. "I think it's one of those old communication units. A telephone." "This is a telephone? I've never seen one before." Her eyes examined the device from all angles with scientific scrutiny. Her eager fingers slid along the base. It was cold to the touch. "It's so huge. I don't see a voice input or a microphone." Daniel picked up the receiver and placed it at his ear. "I think it's on. Looks like you talk through here and the message comes out at the top part." He pointed at the respective components. "I see." Jinhua snatched the receiver from his hand. Her heart began to hammer when she recalled Rodan's instructions. She glanced at Daniel. He returned a supportive nod. Swallowing hard, Jinhua pressed in the appropriate digits on the old keypad. 53055500926. "Wait for another tone. Hope your dad answers." A ringing tone sounded in her ear. She held her breath to comply with the final step of the instructions.